What's up, guys? It's Mickey, and welcome back to another episode of Blank Canvas. So, these past few days has had me reflecting and thinking on my life, and it made me think on a topic. Is something that I have to work on, which is I said something to my mom this morning, and I was like, just ready to get the day over with. And she told me, stop rushing your life away. And that's something that I noticed that I do a lot. I rush my life away. And I've explained this on different episodes. There are certain things, like when I was a child, I was like, I can't wait to grow up, not to necessarily have to pay bills and stuff, but to be financially independent, be on my own, blah, 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 blah. All this stuff that I've already talked about. So for those reasons, I couldn't wait to get out of childhood. Then I was looking forward to being an adult, or at least I thought that I would be. I thought I would have all my stuff together by 20s. Biggest misconception that's out there. Because what I've noticed is we think that everybody in their 20s have it together, maybe their 30s, their 40s. Nobody knows what the hell they're doing, all right? We're all out here YOLOing. We're all out here taking it day by day. We're all out here trying to figure it out. So for my 20 something year olds who listen to me, none of us have it figured out. And for people who may be younger or older who listen to me, look at your parents. Like, they either finessed us so well to make us think they really had it figured out, or we saw that they didn't have it figured out and they took it day by day. They survived. So, some good news is we can survive too. But I do kind of have this bad habit of trying to rush my life away. And I do it subconsciously sometimes. And sometimes I'm intentional, like, no, I'm ready to get this over with, blah, blah, blah. And I, I notice that I will miss so many moments. Like, I'm also a future forward thinker, which I've explained multiple times too. But if I'm always thinking about the future, then how can I ever be present, right? Like, say I'm in this moment, then it's like, okay, I made it to this moment. Even if it was a moment that I was looking forward to experiencing, just the simple fact that, okay, now I'm in this moment. Now my brain is already out of the moment that I currently am in, and I'm thinking about what is next, or what needs to be done, dot 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 dot. Like, I'm usually thinking about what is tomorrow gonna bring, or and then how arrogant of me to think what is tomorrow gonna bring, as if I'm just gonna wake up and get to experience tomorrow. Like, I don't get that call, right? And then I also heard something one time. They say a lot of us, we plan vacations, we plan this, we plan that, as if we're even gonna live to see it, and we have no idea. And we don't. And I guess you could think about that in the opposite way too, of, well, because I don't know if I'm gonna die tomorrow, then let me live it up, which I think it's a balance with everything. I think you need to enjoy life because you don't know if you're going to die tomorrow, but you also need to be responsible in life because you don't know if you're going to die tomorrow. And if you're still here, the responsibility will still be there. And even if you do die, but then you leave some stuff that can fall on other people, then your irresponsibleness is now falling on other people to have to clean up. So pick your poison. Really, everything in life is about balance. We need the good moments. We need to be responsible. We need it all. But it made me think of a verse that is in Ecclesiastes. And it is, I think, chapter 3, verse 1, when Solomon wrote these, when he says, there is a season for everything, and a time for every matter under the heavens, a time for giving birth, and a time for dying, a time for planting, a time for uprooting what was planted, a time for killing, and a time for healing, a time for tearing down, and a time for building up, a time for crying and a time for laughing, a time for mourning, a time for dancing, a time for throwing stones and a time for gathering stones, a time for embracing and a time for avoiding embraces, a time for searching and a time for losing, a time for keeping and a time for throwing away, a time for tearing and a time for repairing, a time for keeping silent and a time for speaking, a time for loving and a time for hating, a time for war and a time for peace. And I think that scripture just perfectly describes what I'm trying to get across in this episode, which is there is a time for everything under the sun. right? I'm sure some of you have heard that saying before. But there is a time for everything under the sun, and there's no need to rush your life away. There's no need to force anything because everything will happen when it's supposed to happen and how it's supposed to happen, whether we necessarily agree with it or not, right? And I have that problem, BK fam. I have that problem. I be trying to rush my life away. I be like a planner. I'm a future forward thinker and so as helpful as it can be in certain situations, it can also work against me, which goes back to balance and to make sure I'm not too far on one end of the spectrum or the other, right? Like I need to have balance. It's okay to plan. That's fine, but sometimes it's okay to be spontaneous and just live in the moment. It's okay to think about the future. That's cool. That's responsible, right? It can be even intriguing depending on what I'm thinking about, right? But I also need to be present and in the moment. And I remember God told me one time, He's like, you're going to be wishing for the next chapter, the next thing, the next everything so much in your life that you're going to miss your whole entire life. Your whole entire life is going to flash you by. And I remember when God told me that, and I was just like, whoa, it hit me like a ton of bricks because I was like, that's not my goal. My goal is to get to a point in life where I'm like, okay, everything is right. And then as I've been learning in my 20s, that I don't think there'll ever be a moment where everything is right. You just enjoy life for what it is. You enjoy life for where you are, and you continue to work to make it better. You continue to work to get the things that you want and how you want them. And when I say work, I don't always mean like a 9 to 5 job. I mean, there's work to be done in self improvement. There's work to be done in your relationships. There's work to be done to grow spiritually, emotionally. Like, there are so many things outside of a regular job. When I say work to make your life better, it can be more happiness, it can be more peace, it can be more um, time to be creative. It can be so much more than just money, so much more than just paying bills. And I feel bad for people, especially in America. Other countries have it figured out better than we do. But I feel bad for us in America because we are supposed to be one of the greatest countries in the world, but it's like the biggest scam that there is, right? Like people are living paycheck to paycheck. We don't have universal health care, universal pre-K, like nothing. Education isn't free. We charge astronomical prices for college. We don't give maternity leave. Like, it's crazy the things that we don't do that would make society function better in general. And if society is functioning better, then wouldn't we be more willing to spend more money in this economy? Right? But if we don't have any money to spend, then we can't help our government out either, can we? No, we cannot. But there are just so many things to like stress about and worry about over here that we get in like this hamster wheel and rat race of I can't even focus on my dreams because I got to do this, this, and this. So maybe something that can help with there's a season for everything is maybe getting more balanced with doing something for you and still being responsible, carving out some creative time for yourself and still having to do the everyday task and things, right? Really being balanced. I think that's what I want to, since I have such a problem with rushing my life away, what I'm going to be working on is becoming more balanced in all areas. Okay, if I'm gonna put in effort to grow closer to God, do that and still work on myself. Okay, and still be responsible financially and still be responsible in any other way I need to be responsible. Like, really, my goal is to be a well rounded individual, right? And being balanced, I feel like will help me with that. I don't know how balanced I can be. I'm not a Libra, okay? My scales don't tell me when I'm leaning more one way or the other. That's a joke, guys. I know when I'm off. But I I really want to be a well-rounded individual and I want the people around me to be well-rounded. I don't want any of us stressed out for anything. I don't want any of us anxious or anything. And I know I have no control over that. But if I can play a part and being responsible enough to be in position where it's a burden that I could take away from somebody, I want to be in that position to take that burden away. If it's a way that I can make sure I'm balanced and stuff and I can help somebody smile today, I want to do that. I want to make somebody smile today. Like, I just want to not only be a better individual, but I want to be helpful. Like, I want to be a contributing person, human to society for the better, not for the worse. Like, I don't want to make anybody's life more miserable. I would want to improve it in some kind of way. And it doesn't mean like improve it like I'm saving them kind of thing, or like it's all hell me because I came in, you couldn't do it without me. No, 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 no. It's nothing of that nature. It's just that if I can be of help at the time, I want to be of help. If I can make your day, I want to make your day. I appreciate when people make my day. I appreciate when people make me smile. I appreciate when people give me help in times when I need help. I really, really, truly appreciate it. And as life has shown me, you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know what's going to happen the day you wake up. You could have plans for the day, but tell God your plans and he will definitely laugh. And something that I've noticed with the devil is that as soon as you get comfortable, or as soon as you get you feel like, okay, I can breathe for a second. Here comes something else that he's trying to throw you off. But don't let him make you unbalanced. Stay focused. Stay at the feet of Jesus. That's why I always say stay at his feet. Because keeping your eyes on Jesus, no matter how the winds are blowing, no matter how chaotic the world may seem around you, you keep your eyes focused on Jesus and he will keep you at peace, and he will guide you through the stormy waters. He will guide you through the storm. You'll be walking on water like Peter and be like, I didn't even know I could do this. You couldn't, but you did it with him. You can with him. You could and can with him. So that's why I encourage all my BK fam and me, keep my eyes on Jesus, right? I also have some really good people in my life who are really great about no matter what curveballs life throws at them, they're really good at just taking it with a smile. There was something not too long ago that was just blowing my day. Like, it was blowing everything. Like, I really needed this thing to happen for me, and people were so lackluster about it because it wasn't affecting their life. And it's, if you don't get it, you don't get it, but it's not stopping me, it's not harming me. And that's unfortunate that a lot of people kind of operate like that. Like, well, it's not really harming me, so I'll take my time with it getting to you kind of thing, or I'll take my time with getting back to you kind of thing. And that's just, that sucks that people think like that, because you just never really know how much somebody needs something or how much somebody needs something done. And I remember they told me, I was like, oh my God, I kept speaking, it's a bad day, it's a bad day. And the day got worse because I kept speaking, it's a bad day, it's a bad day. And even when stuff started to come together, I was like, okay, it's coming together. But I had already spoke out of my mouth so many times that it was going to be a bad day and a bad day. And I hadn't even given the day time to fully play out, nor had I given God time to fully do what needed to be done. I was saying it was a bad day because I had at least 3 pieces of bad news early that morning. By 11 something, one of the pieces of the bad news was already done. The other piece wasn't even that big of a deal, but I had already spoken that out of my mouth, and the day ended with a bang, literally and non-literally. So, um I had kind of created the tone and the atmosphere for that day versus listening to my friend who said, I understand, like, you needed it to come through and you needed it to happen right then and there, but sometimes you just got to take it with a smile. And I literally told that person, I was like, bump that. I need dot, 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 dot to happen. And they were like, I get it, but take it with a smile. Had I had a more positive attitude with taking it with a smile and just not trying to rush everything and be so in my head, be such a planner that, and I really hate my plans being thrown off. So I think that was another agitation for me that day was I had this planned out. This was scheduled. Now I have to rearrange my schedule because of either life circumstances or the person. And it highly annoys me. As a planner, it highly annoys me. From As a planner and as a control freak, it just highly annoys the crap out of me for my plans not to go the way that they need to go. But y'all know this, BK fam. People who've been here since the beginning, y'all know this. I would love to say that I've gotten a lot better with it. I haven't, but am I working on it? I honestly am. And it's for a reason, because I also talk about how life and death is in the power of the tongue, right? I cursed that day from the moment I opened my eyes. I cursed it. I cursed it. I was saying it's bad, 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 bad. It did not. It started off bad. I didn't give God time to finish doing what he needed to do in his timing. He came through. I didn't give him time to work, right? Just cursing my day, which literally made my day end with a bang, right? And so me ending it with a bang and just moving, a lot of that was just on me. It could have been probably one of the greatest days ever, or at least just a normal day, but I had already cursed it. And I want you guys to remember that life and death is in the power of the tongue. And just because it's not happening instantly, or just because it's not happening as fast, doesn't mean that God isn't moving. Or just because you can't hear him or really understand, like feel him, see him kind of thing, it doesn't mean that God isn't moving, right? He's always moving. He's always working. He loves us. He's a good father. He wants better for us than we want for ourselves. He wants better for us than any other human that's on this planet. No matter how much the human loves us, there is nothing compared to the love that God gives. I don't care if it's your children, your parents, your spouse, whatever. They can love you to death and have the best intentions for you, but it's no love compared to the love that God has for us. And so when he's moving on our behalf, when he does certain things, when he allows certain things, we may think, oh my God, how could you do this? But everything he does is for our good, and everything he does is for the love of us. So God would never do anything to intentionally harm us. If he let anything bad happen, it's to pull something out of us, or it's because it's all going to orchestrate together for our good. Like, we may be viewing it with the eyes of bad, but we're not sovereign. So we don't really know that this is a good thing that this happens, because this leads to this, and this. But this has to happen in this moment in order for this, and this to happen. Does that make sense? So I want us to be cautious and aware of that. When something is going wrong, or it just feels like a bad day, try your best, BK fam, not to curse the day. Learn from me. Also, give it time to work out. It may work out. It may not. I'm going to be realistic. It may not. It may just be a suckish day. Those happen. But there's always, what I've learned, there's always some good parts in the day. It's just usually when we set our mind on this is a bad day, and we've set our mind, we've set our tone, we've set our hearts, all we can focus on is the negative. Even if we're having a bad start, or it becomes bad at some point during the day, I promise you, give it time to work out, or look for the glimmers in the day. The whole entire day wasn't bad. It's just that we probably paid attention to only the negative parts, right? So we have to be cautious and aware of that. And then also, my main point is there is a season for everything. Don't rush your life away, okay? So take it from Mickey. That's what I'm gonna be working on, not rushing my life away, and being very intentional with life and death is in the power of the tongue, not cursing my day. Because I think what that taught me last week is or the week before that, I don't even know at this point. That was a prime example of I didn't let the day finish, and I didn't let God do what he needed to do. It was a delay, but how I responded to the delay was what needed to be done, which I did end up changing my mindset, by the way, and saying, like, okay, like, I'm gonna just, how I was viewing it was negative, I'm gonna turn it positive, and I'm just gonna accept it. Once I turned it positive and said I'm just gonna accept it, started going about my day, got a phone call back, was able to rearrange some things, and something that I needed to come through ended up coming through. But what happened later on, I feel like, was because I had already cursed that day. Like, even though I had went back, I was like, okay, I feel like I was only positive about that one particular situation. I still wasn't like, this is the greatest day ever or anything. No, I still wasn't like that about my whole day. So be very cautious about the words you speak, because life and death is in the power of the tongue. And I think we underestimate that. And even I need to do better. Like, I'm stressing to you guys how important it is. And I still need to do better myself. So I'm going to work on that. I'm going to work on trying to just know that there's a season for everything, and really being present, because rushing my life away does not help me be present. And if I'm not present as God told me, I'm going to miss my whole life. My whole life is going to flash me by. So, all right, guys, I hope you guys can learn from me and my mistakes and be better. Be better, do better, right? And I'm going to try to be better and do better too. So, I love you guys, and I can't wait to see what we talk about next time. All right, guys. Bye.
Blank canvas, blank canvas, blank canvas, blank canvas. Don't know what the topic is, but we gon' talk about something on the mental, on the mind, weighing heavy. Society with the levies, kinda deadly. Silent killer, part the daddy. Most killers had no daddy. Sadly, that's just what it be in my community. We got no unity. Dark skin wanna ruin me. I'm speaking fluently. So just listen, blank canvas, blank canvas.